You're listening to the Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate podcast. Your host, Will Smith, is a former NFL player that found his passion in commercial real estate. Every week, you will learn from industry experts everything you need to know to get started investing in commercial real estate to build generational wealth.
Thank you for tuning in to the Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate show. I got a very special guest lined up for you guys today. But before we get into that, if you're watching this show for the first time, do me a favor, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you've been watching this show and you haven't left a review for whatever reason, please do that now. These reviews are how I keep bringing on rock star guests like I have today. All right, housekeeping is out of the way. Let's get to today's guest. Today's guest is Nitzan Mosery. He's from Israel, right?
My family's from Israel. I'm first generation American.
First generation American.
I'm a Brooklyn boy.
Brooklyn, yeah, you can hear it in his accent. He flipped houses. He did that for a while, and now he's doing multifamily. His group currently owns about 600 units. They went full cycle on some things before that. He has a radio show called Traveling Investor, which is live every Wednesday. So definitely check that out. But I'm going to get out the way and let him go ahead and give us the full bio on, man, what he's doing right now, his history. Man, I appreciate you coming on the show today, man. I really do.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it as well. It's a privilege and an honor to be here.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, man. Obviously, I blew that intro up, but do me a favor, man, and tell us, who you are, man. Like, how did you decide to get into this real estate game?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, when I was a little kid, my father, he used to always preach to us. My parents, used to preach to us, telling us that the richest person in the world is someone who owns a piece of land free and clear. Once you own it and you don't have debt on it, you can do whatever you want on it. You can lease it out to someone. You can sell it if you want. You can build a building out for someone and rent it out to them. It's your land and no one can take it away from you. So that was always kind of, real estate was always kind of in the background, even in the different businesses that my father owned. Whenever he would open up a store or open up a warehouse, he would go and he would buy the real estate that came along with it, because he understood the power of real estate. He understood the power of other people paying you rent, of growing your equity and whatnot. And I remember always, they used to tell us, there's two types of people in this world: those that pay rent and those that collect. And make sure you're always collecting. Yeah. Right. So that was always in the background of my life. And growing up, my father went out and he bought some properties in Manhattan. And being the youngest of four boys, I was always the one that was doing the dirty deeds, the dirty jobs, being in the water tanks, retarring the water tanks. That's how I would spend my summers, and cleaning the bathrooms and redoing the plumbing and the electrical and all that stuff. Just it's always been there in the background. And when I moved to Israel, I was, I bought some properties in Israel. Then I moved to Florida in 2009, back from Israel. And the low-hanging fruit at that time was single-family homes, right? South Florida was hit hard during that, downturn. So, that was a low-hanging fruit. So I was flipping houses left and right, but I saw the end. I saw the end coming, and knowing and having the history that I had, where I understood that I always wanted people to pay me rent. Right. I call it mailbox money. Right. You go to the mailbox, you open up the mailbox, you got money there. It's a great thing. Right. So when I saw that a lot of people were jumping on the bandwagon and flipping houses and paying more for the houses that I wanted to pay for, I had to shift. Because I also realized that whenever I would sell a house, I didn't make any money until I sold the next one. Right. That was very stressful. Yeah. Right? You don't know when you're going to sell your next house, when you're going to acquire the next one for you to sell it. Yep. So I went and I started learning about multifamily. I had my mentor, and he taught me really well. And that's when I met my business partner, and we started going out and partnering up with people and buying multifamilies and, learning the business, firsthand, making a lot of mistakes, learning the mistakes, being stressed out and whatnot. And now I'm at a point where I'm still making mistakes. I'm still learning, but we're at a different level.
Right.
And, as I was mentioning to you before the show, we just closed on a property in Sumter, South Carolina. I've got a closing happening on a property today in San Antonio, Texas. It was built in 2011 and 2017. I've got another property under contract to buy in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
We're selling our hotel. We're selling another property that we've got in Georgia. So, the cycle moves, right? It's a living, breathing thing. It's not stagnant. It's not, you got a house, you sell it, and that's it, right? You're buying a property, you're fixing it, you're maintaining it, you're increasing the value of the property and the quality of life to the residents that live on site, and you hold it, you're giving your investors a nice return. And then, if you're in the right market at the right time, like we are, I'm constantly getting phone calls from brokers asking me if I want to sell, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and now, thank God I'm able to go out and share with other people what I've done and how I do it, because when I was learning the business, all I was taught was how to buy multifamily.
Yeah.
How to underwrite, how to analyze, how to pick the market, how to raise rent. But that was only one part. That's just the multifamily part. There's the other part of building your business, right?
Yeah.
How to structure that, how to create it. And what I learned also by flipping houses was that was just another job that I had. I had to wake up, I had to go do it. And if I wasn't flipping a house, I wasn't making money. And also when I was in multifamily, if I wasn't out there doing these things and I wasn't buying a property and I wasn't making money and I wasn't doing that. So I learned quickly how to build a business that was built around my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Rather than creating my lifestyle to fit my business, right? A lot of us, doesn't matter if you're flipping houses, if you're buying multifamily, self-storage, suddenly we're still got to go to the office, got to put the time in, right? So we're shaping our lifestyle around our businesses.
Yeah.
I teach my mentor clients and my coaching clients how to build your business so that it revolves around your lifestyle.
Right.
We talk about what kind of lifestyle you want to have. What do you want to do? What's your end goal, right? What's your vision for your life? And once we have that, let's build that business around you. Let's create the team that can help you achieve your lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great.
That's
man.
where we are now.
That's great. That really is. And we're going to talk about the coaching towards the end of this. But let me ask you though, what is it about multifamily that you like? Because I heard you mention that you just sold a hotel, so obviously you're in multiple asset classes. But what is it about multifamily that you really like?
So what I love about multifamily is that it doesn't matter in a downturn or an upturn. People always need a place to live.
Right.
And if you go out and you're buying the right property in the right market and you're underwriting it in a very conservative way, and really doing it in a conservative style, you can pretty much, navigate through any type of waters and get to the end, and be successful. And what I like also about multifamily is that it gives me an opportunity to really improve the quality of life for the people that we touch, our investors, the residents, the people that live on our property, right? Our property management companies. It really is an opportunity for us to go out and be a force of good in this world, right? You've got your slumlords that don't care about their properties, and they're treating their tenants horribly. In our vision, in our mission statement, one of the sentences in our mission statement is that our goal is to improve the lives of people that we touch. And the people that we touch are our investors, the residents, our employees. We really want to go out there and be a force of good, not only for people, but also for the environment, right?
Right.
put reusable, recyclable energy sources in our properties, do all these kinds of things to help out the environment as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it. I really enjoy multifamily. And also, you get multiple people paying your mortgage and your bills for you.
Yeah.
Right. So that's always a nice thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. That's why I like multifamily over single family homes. If one person move out, now you're 100%, vacant. Whereas if you got a 10 unit, even somebody doing something small, a 10 unit, one person move out, you're still 90% occupied. So multifamily just makes so much more sense than single family, but obviously I'm biased. I'm in commercial real estate. So, you had a hotel that you sold. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the industry, where it's at now. COVID really had an impact on it. And, a lot of people are having to get rid of their properties, or some of them are losing their properties. There's always opportunity in every market cycle, in every asset class. What do you think the opportunity is around the hotel industry?
So the opportunity is that right now you can buy hotels for cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. Also commercial buildings, right? Because, the pandemic hit, so people are pivoting, doing more, home-based jobs.
Right.
They're doing more Zoom conferencing. So that that industry shifted.
Yeah.
And if you look at real estate, or any industry, right? What goes down must come up. What goes up must come down, right? So now the commercial industry, the hotel industry was hit hard. Okay. When the pandemic hit and, hotels were shutting down, industries, the travel industry was shutting down.
Right.
We had an opportunity to either fold and close our doors, or to pivot and say, how can we take advantage of this situation so that we can come out ahead when it's all over? So, luckily we have an amazing general manager who knows the entire, city officials, the mayor and all that of Memphis. And he went out and he said, look, we've got the hotel. How can we help you? We have an industrial kitchen.
Yeah.
We have rooms. We have, restaurants that we can bring and bring to your service. So we were bringing in the National Guard so they can stay, and we were providing food for them. We were helping out different hospitals and whatnot for bringing people that, weren't contagious and whatnot, but they needed a place to stay. So they brought them. So we were able to pivot and keep the business alive.
Right.
And that's key when you're in any industry. Right. You have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to look and say, okay, here's a problem, here's a challenge, here's an obstacle, right? Instead of just focusing on the problem, you got to shift and look at solutions, right?
Right.
One of my clients, had a great saying. He goes, the mind that creates or focuses on the problem cannot be the same mind that finds a solution.
Right.
You got to shift, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we do. So right now, the opportunity is buying properties at a very deep discount and then figuring out what you can do with it.
Right.
Okay. Being, offices, maybe you can put now, medical offices or different things that people need.
Yeah.
And you got to be creative, right? You really got to be creative.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely got to be able to think outside the box, because you don't want to acquire a business that's failing and then, you don't have a solution to the problem, right? So
right. Exactly.
That's key. So let's talk about deal finding, man. You got a lot of deals on the contract right now. I mean, what are you guys doing to find deals?
So there's a couple of things. When you're starting out, again, you got to build your team. Okay, if you're starting out and you don't have the track record, you don't have the net worth, you don't have the, all of that behind you.
Yeah.
You need to start building your team. Building your team with what I call pedigree, right?
Right.
People that have been in the industry, people that have a great track record and all that. And sometimes what it means is that you got to go out and build a relationship with the brokers in the markets that you want, and then find the deal and then bring it over to your teammates and let them run with it. And you take a small piece of that pie until you build up your reputation and so forth, and you can move forward.
Yeah.
Once you do that, the beautiful thing is that then brokers will start calling you and say, hey, listen, I saw you closed on this project, on this property. I've got this one coming to market soon. I'd like you to, are you interested in it, right?
Yep.
So that's one way of doing it. Another way, now what I've done, 10 years traveling the country, different real estate conferences, you meet people, right? So once you know the markets that you want to invest in and you're building your team in that market, I've got bird dogs.
Yeah.
Most of the deals that I close on, I don't find myself. They're brought to me by people that I built relationships with, people that I like to work with.
Yep.
Right? So they go out, they find the deals because they're living in that city. They know which area is the good area. They know the brokers. They know, hey, we don't want to be on that side of the street. We want to be on this side of the street, right? We want to be in that neighborhood because that's the neighborhood, that's the path of progress. So they'll go out and they'll do all the legwork. They'll underwrite it. They'll, drive the comps and all that. And then they'll come to me and my team and say, hey, we found this. Would you like to partner with us?
Yep.
Then we go out. And what's nice about that also is that now I've got boots on the ground in that city so that when we close or when we're raising capital, I can tell people, listen, I'm sitting in Florida.
Yeah.
But I've got boots on the ground in Charlotte. I've got boots on the ground in San Antonio. I've got boots on the ground in South Carolina. It's not me. I'm just now asset managing all of these people.
Right.
And that's why I can live my lifestyle the way I want, because I don't have to be present on a day-to-day basis, So like, for example, this coming Wednesday, I'm flying up to my properties in Georgia and I'm going to be doing my rounds, right? Surprising my property managers. I'm here, right? And we just spend 2-3 days checking everything out, making sure that they're doing what they've told us that they're doing, knocking on doors, making sure the tenants are happy, making sure the property looks good, all that kind of stuff. So that's how we find the deals, right? But when you're starting out, you want to build really good broker relations. You don't want to be that lone ranger where you're the only person on your team, right? Because if they start asking you, right, because when you're talking to a broker, first question they're going to ask you is, what was the last deal you closed on?
Right.
Oh, I flipped the house.
Right.
I flipped the house.
Right.
I go, great, but this is not a house.
Right.
Right. But if you can say, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Broker, I'm just getting involved in multifamily, right? I know real estate, but I've never done multifamily. However, I have Willie here. I have Will who's on my team, and he's done X, Y, and Z. He's going to be the key person running this.
Right.
I'm just the boots on the ground. I'm sourcing deals for us. Now they're not going to ask you all the questions.
Right.
Right? They're going to say, okay, here's the deal, blah, blah, blah. You pass it off to your person. And we can talk, right? And a good broker will probably say, well, why don't we get your team on the phone so that we can all figure out what we're looking for and what the best asset is for you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the best way to go about doing that when you're starting.
Yeah, yeah. And I was really about to ask you, what's the biggest challenge when getting started? But you just answered it. You got to have a team. You got to have experience on your team because obviously you're just getting going. So the broker's not going to send you nothing. They want to get paid. So. Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
You got to think, if you're a broker, and you're a good broker, right? You've got 10 people already lined up that you've done deals with. They can close. Right. So why should I send you my pocket listing when I don't know you? So you have to build that relationship. You have to build commonality. You have to prove to the broker that, I can close.
Right. I'm
a closer because look at my team, right? Look what they've done.
Yeah.
Right. It's not me. It's them.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So you're in multiple markets, man. Let's talk about market selection for just a moment here. What do you look for when you're looking at a market?
Well, first I look for a place that is easy for me to get to. Okay. That's first and foremost. Second, I look for a city that do I enjoy going there? Right. If it's in Wazoo, whatever, and, it takes me 8 hours to get there, two connecting flights, and it's always cold. There's nothing happening there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, why go there, right?
Right.
That's kind of the first thing. And then the second thing is what we call the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is job growth, right? You got to look for a city that has job growth.
Right.
Okay. Now, once you look at a city and you say, okay, what kind of job growth is it? Is it temporary jobs? Is it permanent jobs? Who's coming into the city, right?
Right.
So I'll talk to the Economic Development Committee. I'll talk to the Chamber of Commerce. I'll try to reach out to some city council members to see what's going on, right? I'll talk to different brokers, ask them what's happening in the city, right? I'll Google, right, top 10 cities, to invest in, or I'll even Google, U-Haul one-way destinations.
Right.
Where are people going one way? Where are they moving to, right?
Right.
What's happening in that city? I want to see big companies, Amazon, Publix, FedEx, right? Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, Starbucks. I want to see these companies going into the market and building their distribution centers, stores, whatever it is, right? That's what I want. For example, in Charlotte right now, we're buying in this area of Charlotte, and it's amazing because you can actually see the path of progress moving in that area. You can see new homes being built. You can see investors renovating homes. Right on the other side of the fence of the property that we have under contract, they're building 140 townhomes where the purchase price starts in the mid 200s.
Right. Right.
So that's awesome. That's what we want to see, right? You want to see also that the mayor of the city understands that jobs are key to success.
Yep.
Right? Reach out to the different philanthropic groups like the Rotary groups, the Elk, the Knights, whatever, and call them up and, ask them what's going on in the city as well. How, are there people moving there? What's going on?
Right.
So that's kind of what we look for, right? We want to see major hubs, right? We want to see, that at least one university, big university in the area, a major airport with major airlines coming in. Right, things of that nature, so that you can see that it's moving. The city is moving. You want to see the growth of families. Growing. Right. More families means more schools, more jobs, more service-oriented jobs. Right. Things of that nature. Right. So that's what we look for in new markets.
Yeah. No, that's some really good points there. Now, when you're looking at deals, number one, what is the typical deal size that you look for? Like, what's that? I mean, everybody have that sweet spot that they want to be in. What is that for you?
I'm sorry, what was it? You
deal size.
Deal size. So, again, when I was starting out, right, 2009, 10, 11, even 12, 13, we were able to go and, into the primary markets and find 100, 200 unit properties, 240 unit properties, and we were able to close on them. Yeah. Now there's a lot more competition in the primary markets for stuff like that. And you've got family offices, REITs, funds, all the pebbles and rocks and stones, right? The gray stones, the black rocks, the river stone, all those guys, right? Yeah. They're coming in and they're putting, they have hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars that they've raised that they have to move. Yeah. So they're going and buying 200, 300, 400, 500,000 units, and they're coming in with $500,000 non-refundable day one. Right. Not going to compete with that. Yeah. I don't even want to waste my time with that. Right. Right. So again, you got to pivot. You got to be able to pivot. You got to be able to look and see what's going on in your market, in your industry, and pivot. So I went and I said, you know what? If that's the competition, let's go into the tertiary and secondary and tertiary markets, and even primary markets. And now we're buying between 50 to 100, 120 units. That's kind of our sweet spot now. Right. Why? Because nobody's buying. Because everybody's talking, buying 100 unit property is the same as buying a 50 unit. You're right. However, you're competing with 45 other people. Right. Right. If
Right.
I'm buying a 65, 70 unit, I'm not competing with that many people. And if I already bought a 50, 60, 70, 80 unit property in this market,
Yeah.
I'm probably one of 3 other groups that bought
Right.
in that market. You can also get a better deal. There's a lot more value because these are probably owned by mom and pop.
Yep.
So they haven't raised rents in 10, 15 years, right? So they're 100%, 96% occupied. So there's a good bump in the rents.
Yep.
So that's kind of what our sweet spot is right now. And we're finding really good values doing that. And it's easier also to raise $1.5 million, $1.8 million, rather than $4, $5, $6 million, you know?
Right. Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. You said it best, man. It's a lot of big money out there chasing multifamily deals because of the security of it. I mean, it's historically one of the best industries to be in as far as default rate goes, and that's important. So, yeah, good deal there. Now, last question here for you, man. Because obviously when you're underwriting, it's different from larger deals to smaller deals. Different things you want to be paying attention to. And that target range that you guys are looking between that 50 to 120 underwriting, what do you guys look for as red flags? Because obviously, mom and pop owners are not going to be running it like a, Fortune 500 company.
Right. Well, obviously we want to see their financials. We want to see their history, their track record. When I fly to a property, what I do is I'll go on Google and I'll look at all the different multifamily properties in the area, right?
Yeah.
I won't just go based upon the broker's offering memorandum, what they have in the comps, because obviously they're going to give you the best comps. Right? They're not going to show you, the garbage properties that, maybe my property resembles that more than it resembles the nicer assets, right?
Right.
So I'll go and I'll drive the properties, I'll drive the neighborhoods, and I will do my own underwriting. I'll talk to the brokers, and that's why you want to have boots on the ground as well, people that are experienced in the area that can share with you and say, look, you know what? Painting crew in this market will only charge you $300 to paint the unit. Okay. Yeah. Some markets they'll charge you $700, right? You also want to know what the insurance is. So you have, your insurance brokers, bid out that policy for you, right, on that property. So you really want to go out and do your own underwriting, do your own homework.
Right.
Because it will then, when you're out there and you're raising capital from your investors, you sound more confident.
Yeah.
And they sense that. They know that, you know what, you can say, listen, I drove the properties and I saw this property, that property, and that property. And all those properties aren't as nice as ours, and they're charging more rent than we can. So we can definitely still raise rents and be under their value, under those rents, and still have room to push. Right. And the way you speak about it, your investors sense that, and they're more comfortable. And when you're raising capital from other people, it's a responsibility, right? It's no joke, right? People go to jail for screwing this up.
Right.
That's why we have to be, we have to file with the SEC, with the Securities and Exchange Commission, because this is no joke.
Yeah.
So you want to cover, CYA, right? Cover your assets. Right. You want to go out and you want to do your homework. Don't ever rely on anybody else.
Yeah.
Even when my bird dogs, when my partners are out there, the boots on the ground, and they send me underwriting, I will still go on Google and I'll check the different comps and I'll check it for myself. And then when I fly out there, we'll all get into my car and we will drive the comparables, and I will look at them with my own eyes. We'll go into the leasing offices. We'll ask those property managers, what are you doing? What's going on? And a lot of times, even my people that are there, they're like, oh, wow, we missed these properties. Yeah, because you don't do what I do. Right. And that's how we also are able to find the hidden nuggets where we can raise the value of the asset. Yeah.
No, that's a terrific idea, And I guess that also speaks to your success, man, and experience of being in the industry. The little things like that the guy's just getting started. He's not going to think about that stuff. So that's the importance of partner, man. So it keeps going back to having that team around you. I mean, it's critical.
Absolutely. I would rather have a small piece of the pie and have a huge portfolio.
Right.
Than have a big piece or all of it of nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Go out there and do deals, right? Do deals. Show your investors that you're able to find deals and you're able to close on them and you can move their money and you can,
Right.
always under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And if the numbers don't work, they don't work. Don't push it. Right? Because the last thing you want to do is underwrite, raise money, and then you close on the property and your numbers are all off.
Yeah. That's the worst thing.
That's the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You could be the nicest guy, you can be the most honest person, but if your numbers don't work and you've raised capital and now your numbers are skewed,
yeah,
you're screwed, man. You're screwed. Your investors will not invest with you. 100%. And this industry is so small.
Yeah.
Word gets around like that.
Right. Absolutely. All right, man. So let's go ahead and segue to the next segment of the show. It's a deal deep dive. Let's talk about a deal that you went full cycle on. How many units was it? What was the value add, and the exit and all of that.
How many years did we go full cycle on?
Yeah, like just find a deal that you. Let's talk about one deal that you can remember. How many units?
Sure.
Value add and all that.
So we were looking in Texas for a long time. My business partner moved to Dallas. She wanted to, we all heard Texas, Dallas,
right.
Dallas. That's the place to be.
Right.
So again, somebody that we knew put a 240 unit property, C-class property, under contract by the Love Airport in Dallas.
Yeah.
We bought it for about $5.5 million. Okay, really cheap.
Yeah.
We went in there. We revamped the leasing office. We redid the driveway, the parking lot, retarred it, restriped it. We put a fence around the building. We put lights for safety.
Yeah.
Right. It was also in a very C-class neighborhood, which was fine. Right. We love those neighborhoods, working class neighborhoods. People work. They have pride of ownership. They come home. They pay their rents. They do what they do, and they go on. Right.
Right.
We put about $1 million into the property. So, all in was about $6.7 million into it.
Yeah.
And we started raising rents. We did the interior of the properties as well, and again, basic stuff, resurfacing the countertops, painting the units, put fans in. Right. If we could clean the carpets, we would. If not, we would remove them. We put that wood linoleum flooring, paint the cabinets, right? Basic things that, makes it pop a little bit nicely, right? We painted the outside. Very nice. We held that property for 21 months until we got an unsolicited offer for $11 million.
Wow.
We sold that property. We gave our investors back their money, and they more than doubled their money in 21 months.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible.
That's the importance of being in the right market at the right time.
Yeah.
Right? Timing. It's all about timing. So you need to know your market and where it is on that market cycle.
Yeah.
Right? Where you are. Are we at the bottom? Are we coming up? Are we at the top and it's about to tip over and go down? Right, because wherever you are on that market cycle, your strategy will be different.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. No, that's a great deal. That's a home run deal. Those are the ones the investors tell all their friends about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good deal.
And we have another property. It's a 44 unit in Athens, Georgia. We bought it for $2.9 million in. End of 2018, we took the rents from $750 to now they're between $895 and $1,200.
Wow.
Okay, and due to the pandemic and whatnot, the property was hit a little bit hard.
Yeah.
We got an extension on the loan, and now we have it for sale for $3.85 million. We have a buyer, and we're going to close on them before January 5th. So our investors are still making good money, right? We paid out some distributions we were able to, but we felt that this asset at this time, the best thing for us to do would be to sell it to another owner so that they can come in and continue running it, because we were hit hard because of COVID. Yeah. And sometimes when you're hit hard, it's hard to get back into the swing of things. So best is to sell it, recover your investors' funds, give them a nice profit, and then move on to the next one.
No, that makes a lot of sense, man. Just from the longevity of your business, like you mentioned at the beginning, man, it's about having a business, and you want to keep your business going, and you need to have happy customers, clients, to make that happen. So I get it. It makes a ton of sense.
Exactly.
All right, man. So let's go ahead and segue to the last segment of the show. It's a lightning round. I got a couple questions for you. Ready?
Let's go.
All right. What's the best advice you ever been given?
Find someone who has what you want, do what they do, and you'll get what they got.
That's great advice. Best book you've ever read?
Best book I ever read. Wow. I've read so many.
Yeah.
I would say Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. It talks about Siddhartha, who became the Buddha, and his life and his journey and the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
That book I read before that book made me go on my travel journey throughout the world for 6 years. That kind of set me on my journey to travel the world and just let the universe take me. Yeah.
Cool. What are some rituals you have created that's making you a better investor?
Rituals, visualization, manifestation, breathing. I do a lot of breathing techniques. At night, while I'm in bed, I visualize my properties. I visualize how they're going to run. I visualize the closing of my properties. I visualize the sales. I visualize the acquisitions. I visualize the tenants doing all that. I create when I close on a property, I create a WhatsApp group of all the G, and we have our team meetings. So things of that nature.
Yeah, good deal. What is the one thing you're doing right now to improve your business?
What is the one thing that I'm doing right now to improve my business? Bringing on the right people for the right positions and delegating, right? People always ask me, what is one skill that an entrepreneur should have?
Yeah.
And that's called the art of delegation. And I think that's going to be the title of my book, right? Because we all need to learn. And again, it goes back to creating the lifestyle that you want.
Right.
I don't want to be doing everything.
Yeah.
Right. I want to delegate everything. And I just want to, control and make sure people are doing it. So I'm creating teams of people that are way smarter than me, and also people that complement my skill set. I'm the macro guy. I'm the big picture guy. Yeah. Right. I'm the guy that does the podcast. I'm the guy that does the radio shows. I'm the guy that's traveling, that goes to the properties. But people on my team, they complement my skill set, right? Yeah. They're good with forms. They're good with numbers. They're good with spreadsheets. They're good with this, So that's what I'm doing to better my business.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Great idea. Last question for you, man. If you can give your younger self one tip in regards to investing, what would that be?
Start sooner. Find someone that you look up to, and just learn from them, and just go. Right. I was lucky that I had my parents who were entrepreneurs. My father was in real estate. My mother helped him out. And then when I was 24 years old, I met a gentleman who created top 100 fastest growing privately held companies in the country. And he was my mentor. And he was the guy that actually told me, find someone who has what you want, do what they did, you'll get what they got. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I want what you have. I want the cars. I want the lifestyle. I want the freedom. So I started doing what he did. So I would tell people just, start early, right? If you don't know what you want to do in life, go travel, go figure out, go enjoy yourself. And then learn about yourself, learn what you like, what your passions are, what your desires are, and then go out and start investing. Yeah.
Terrific, terrific. Well, hey, man, that's the end of the show. Tell my listeners, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. You can reach me. My email is Nitzan, Nizan, at investwithcip.com, and that stands for Cornerstone Investment Partners. You can see that in the back over here. My website is www.investwithcip.com. That's my real estate acquisitions company. If you're looking for mentoring and coaching to get into either single family, multifamily, and whatnot, check me out at www.traveling-investor.com. I'm known as the traveling investor because I love to travel and I invest, which helps my traveling life, my traveling lifestyle. My number, if they want to reach out to me, is 561-212-7247.
Good deal, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. You added a ton of value today.
I appreciate it, Willie. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate podcast, brought to you by Onyx Capital Investments. Onyx Capital Investments works with investors nationwide to invest in income-producing real estate in emerging markets. Connect online at www.onyxcapitalinvestments.com to learn more about what we're doing. If we have added value to your life, please leave us a review.